is a warm spring evening here just east of St. Louis. Big crowd on hand getting ready to witness 200 laps of racing. It's the 10th race of the 2004 season. Let's go trackside with Dick Berggren.
An upsetting moment for the outside pole starter, David Green. He got into his race car, buckled in, tried to talk to the crew on the radio, and the radio didn't work. You have to have a radio. NASCAR requires that you have a radio in order to compete. So a crew member ran down the entire length of this long front stretch with a new radio. They put it in the car. At first it didn't work, and then it did. Green is all set. To Jeff.
Well, like everybody else, we want to wish our mothers a very special Mother Day coming up tomorrow. All of us down here on pit road have been thinking about getting home after this race and spending a lot of time with you. Love you, Mom. Be home soon.
Well said, Jeff. You certainly do want to wish all the mothers in NASCAR and all the NASCAR fans out there a very happy Mother's Day. There you see the air temperature 85 degrees, humidity 44 degrees, not too bad, a little bit of wind, but the big thing is going to be the track temperature, and we will monitor that all night long, because when these cars qualified in the middle of the afternoon today, it was 120, 130 degrees, didn't have a lot of grip. But Steve, we had 20 cars break the track record. Why? Well, remember, we have the softer tire. Also, this racetrack has been redone, not repaved, but they smoothed it out. And right now, the track temperature is 92 degrees, so you can see how much cooler it is already, and it will only continue to cool down as the night goes on. That'll pick the speeds up.
As we mentioned, this race is 200 laps, 250 miles. You see your pit road speed. And Larry, let's talk about the pit windows. Strategy always important in the Busch Series.
Well, this race always has a way about it of getting some green flag runs at the end. And as we talked earlier in the pre-race, Mike Bliss lost this race a year ago because he came up about a half a lap shy of fuel. So that right there, it can always be a factor anytime you're here at Gateway.
And there's St. Louis hometown hero himself, Joe Buck. Look how intent he is, Larry. The pace truck is off. We're ready to go racing.
He gets the pat on the back. There he goes. Green flag, green flag. Martin Truex Jr. in that 8 car trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack. David Green slid in behind him. Right now, we know the way around this racetrack is around the bottom. That's where the preferred groove is.
Field safely through turns 1 and 2. Truex Jr. hauls him down the backstretch with David Green and 19-year-old Kyle Busch behind.
I was going to say, Kyle Busch in the 5 car, he got to jump off of turn 2 on the high side of Greg Biffle in the 60 to take that 3rd position.
Off 4, headed back to the start-finish line. Truex Jr. will lead lap number 1.
And as he said in the pre-race, that's 5 bonus points right there for leading the lap. He's already received 40 bonus points this year for leading laps and leading the most laps in some races.
5th race of this young season that that Martin Truex Jr. has led. There's Kyle Busch in the 5 car. He also has led 5 events.
Brand new race car. That team elected to come up here and test for 2 days. Worked on nothing but race setup. We got trouble down in 3 and 4. Caution is out.
Several cars in the wall. Lap 3, first caution out. Clint Boyer in the Richard Childress Racing number 21. Heavy damage to the rear end of that car.
Yeah, this is the same car that he had at Nashville where he was so strong. And look at Billy Parker, Rusty Wallace's car, the 66. A lot of damage to that race car. These guys were back there running somewhere about mid-pack.
The pace truck is off. Martin Truex Jr. getting set to restart this race. Larry Mack, I need to correct myself. This is actually the 7th race that Truex Jr. has led this year.
I know he has led a bunch. Of course, it's a single file restart since there's no lap cars. Greg Biffle really didn't get going very good in the 60 car. In fact, Ron Hornaday in that 2 car, typical Ron Hornaday Jr. restart. He goes by Greg Biffle to take over 4th, but Dick Berggren, something's going on with Greg Biffle's car. He may have a flat left rear tire, Larry. Biffle did want to come in and change it under that caution period. Crew chief Brad Parrott thinks it is just low tire pressure. Biffle right now taking it easy, hoping that tire's okay, but they're not sure. Yeah, of course, Dick, they start the air pressure so low on these cars because they know they're going to gain so much air pressure for a long run. And I'm sure the other thing Brad Parrott was interrogating Biffle about is make sure those tires were hot, that you didn't pick up some rubber if you got up in the 2nd groove. Makes it feel like you've got a flat tire.
And Larry, I have actually seen drivers come to pit road, get 4 tires changed in the Nextel Cup Series, and there not be a problem with the tire. They feel that there is.
Been there, done that many times. Make Larry mad. Bad man.
Bad Larry. Hornaday Jr. and Kyle Busch battling. Battle for third. Hornaday has it.
You know, this is a racetrack that we expected Ron Hornaday in that 2-car to really run well at. He runs good at Nazareth. He won the race there a year ago, and this place has a lot of characteristics of the Nazareth Speedway.
Biffle has a second place finish at this racetrack. David Rudiman in the 87, Mike Bliss in the 20, battle for 13th. David Green in the 37 pulls up alongside or behind Truex Jr.
Of course, this is the third and fourth place man in points. Martin Truex Jr. third in points. David Green, after that finish at Fontana last week, fourth in the points. But I tell you, they're going to have their hands full, I believe, with that blue number 2 car here shortly, Ron Hornaday.
Tight pack headed down the backstretch into turn 3. Hornaday finished second here in 2002, was 6th in 2000, and had a top 5 run going last year, but had a transmission tear out late in the race. He had 141 laps here, Larry Mack, back in 2002.
Yeah, I mean, he's always ran well here, whether it's in the Busch car or in the Craftsman Truck Series. He's always had a good run. Starting to work that second groove just a little bit, especially down there in the middle of turn 1 and 2.
And Larry Mack, Kevin Harvick won 2 races here at the Busch Series. Dale Earnhardt Jr. won 2 races. They both had that AC Delco paint scheme.
They've been very used to victory lane here, AC Delco.
This is the 8th race for the NASCAR Busch Series here at Gateway International. Whoa! David Green gets sideways, and he had help from Hornaday.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I think Ron Hornaday was quicker, and he got a little impatient there in 3 and 4, just kind of did the little bump and run as they come off turn 4, goes into second place. What good run for Jason Keller in that 22 car, sitting there running 5th. But he always runs well here. He has 5 top 5 finishes. He's the only driver here that has competed in all 7 of the Busch races here.
Larry, it's hard to believe that Keller is 6th in points, but still doesn't have a top 5 this season.
A lot like Jason Leffler. He's not led a lap in 2004. Ride with Jason Leffler back in the 6th position in that 00 car.
And Larry, we've heard about drivers talking about shifting here.
Yeah, and we're going to go through that a little bit tonight. We're going to watch some of these drivers because, once again, you pick up the throttle so late off turn 2, and the motor, you want to be in a lower gear. Now, let's ride right here. We're riding with Kenny Wallace in a 23 car. Now, this is coming off turn 4 down the front straightaway. He should be in high gear right now, and he probably will not change here on the front straightaway. But let's stay with him down into turn 1 and 2. I think he may have downshifted right there to 3rd gear. Now, let's see if he shifts to high. All right, right there. And he did a speed shift. In other words, he basically didn't use the clutch. He shifted by RPMs, and that lets you maximize the RPMs on both straightaways. Now we'll ride with him right here, right now, looking over at him. You notice that down the straightaway, relaxes just a little bit, checks that rearview mirror. This is down the front stretch. Now we'll watch him down here to 1 and 2, see if he reaches up there and pulls it back to 3rd gear. There you go, grabs 3rd gear, off turn 2, up the back straightaway, checks his mirror, about halfway up it, he's going to grab high gear, just a quick shift, and he'll pull high gear the rest of the way around. These guys are pulling about a 457 or 464 rear end gear. When they go to 3rd, it's underdrive. It's like a conventional 4-speed. They'll have like about a 490 or 496 in 3rd gear. That helps the RPMs off of turn 2, where the motor bogs so much.
Martin Truex Jr. has led all 17 laps here this evening at Gateway, followed by Ron Hornaday Jr. in the 2 car. Kyle Busch in the 5 rides 3rd, followed by David Green and Jason Keller.
And of course, Martin Truex Jr. making his first Busch start here at Gateway. Because of that, Kevin Mannion, the group decided to come up here and test. I believe we have Mike Wallace in the 4 car, coasting very slowly down the back straightaway. So far, we stay under green. You enter pit road on an excess road over turn 3, so he will definitely make it to pit road, but it's definitely in trouble with that race car.
Casey Atwood in the 14, Casey Kane in the 38. Battle for 9th. Kane takes it. And Larry, just to pay off the Mike Wallace story, it's been a tough night for the Wallace brothers so far. Of course, Rusty Wallace's driver, Billy Catfish Parker's in the garage, victim of a Lat 3 wreck. We saw Mike Wallace slow to the garage, so Kenny Wallace has to carry the banner.
Herman the German, he's the man right now, sitting there right now. Just went by Mike Bliss for the 14th position. We'll ride with him right here again. There you see, that's the middle of turn 1 and 2, up to 3rd gear.
And Martin Truex Jr. leads them down into turn 1, followed by Ron Hornaday Jr., Kyle Busch, David Green, Jason Keller, Jason Leffler, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Casey Kane, Casey Atwood, and Tim Fedewa in the top 10. Look at that battle.
Not a surprise. Ron Hornaday Jr. in that 2 car. He has been awesome on restarts, and he was able to gain his momentum through 1 and 2 and win the battle down the backstretch. And look at Kyle Busch in that 5 car working the high side. Ron Hornaday, he'll lead this lap as we got a side-by-side battle for 3rd with David Green in the 37, Kyle Busch in the 5. As Martin Truex is looking back at it right now.
You see Busch right behind him.
David Green got a good run off turn 2 in that 37 car, trying to take the position away. You see how hard you slam on the brakes at the end of these straightaways. These straightaways are so long. When you see that nosedive as it did on David Green's cars, that's off the throttle, hard on the brake into the corner.
And Larry, I've heard you made the comment, they're even harder on the brakes here than they are at Martinsville.
Well, these straightaways are so long, and you heard me talk about the gears that they pull here. At Martinsville, you have that 650 gear that slows you down when you roll out of the throttle. Here, the car wants to keep going, so you use more brake here than you would Martinsville for the most part.
45-year-old former series champ David Green, side by side with 19-year-old Kyle Busch.
Jason Keller in the 22 car, he's trying to decide who's going to prevail here, who he wants to follow.
He's going with the veteran.
He's going at the bottom of the racetrack.
Right.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 car trying to pull to the inside of Jason Leffler in the 00. That's a battle for 6 right there. It's hard to enter these corners, especially in turn 1, side by side, because it's, as we talked, it's a small end of the racetrack. There's just not room to run side by side getting off in that corner. A little easier in 3 and 4 because 3 and 4 is much more sweeping, and that second groove seems to work better in 3 and 4 as you see Kyle Busch in the 5 car. He will not give up on the high side, though.
Jason Keller down into turn 1 alongside Kyle Busch. Jason Leffler in the 00 right behind Keller. That's Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 car. Great battle there.
See another car joining this group right here, Casey Kane back in that 38 car, the white car. Started back in 14th. He's up there in 8th position. Need to mention on that last caution, the 10 car Gus Watson got the card in the free pass back on the lead lap.
Ron Hornaday Jr. still your leader. You see some contact there between Leffler and Busch in the 5.
Well, Kyle Busch in the 5 has finally made it to the bottom of the racetrack, but it looks like Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 was able to get back to the throttle so much sooner and stay in it. Tries to pull to the inside of Kyle Busch in the 5 car.
Greg Biffle just made it 3 wide down the backstretch.
Now he's already moved back up to 18th position. In fact, he just passed Stacy Compton for 17th. Remember, he has about 25 laps fresher tires than those other guys, and that can make a huge difference. He restarted back in 25th. But Greg Biffle needs this race to stay green because remember, he only has 2 sets of tires to use under caution now. One of them's been used up. Everybody else has 3 as he pulls up to the back of Johnny Sauter in the 27 car, who's running in 16th position.
Biffle won this event in 2002 and also has a win here in the Truck Series.
And he's the only previous winner in the field of the Busch Series race.
Johnny Sauter in the 27. Johnny Sauter said you could be good at one end of this racetrack and feel like you're going to leave the ballpark at the other end.
Oh, it's such a compromise. It reminds me a lot of the Nextel Cup track, Pocono. You know, you got to find that compromise. The real challenge, we talked about it earlier, is getting the car to turn down in the middle of 1 and 2. When it turns good there, you're normally way too loose from the center off of 3 and 4.
Shane Beal in the 24, followed by J.J. Yaley in the 18. Johnny Benson, another former series champ in the 1 car.
Now remember, Shane Mill, a lot like Greg Biffle in the 24 car, he has fresh tires. Like Greg Biffle, 25 less laps on his tires. And you can really go with this tire package when they're fresher.
Biffle at 16th, Sauter at 17th. You know, Darrell Waltrip made the point last week in Fontana, if it weren't for mechanical trouble, Greg Biffle has been a factor to win every single Busch Series race this season.
I mean, he really, really has. I mean, in Texas, he had a great race car and lost an engine. I mean, he's probably been a factor to win at least about 7 or 8 of these 10 races. Pulls up to the rear bumper of our points leader coming to this race, Michael Waltrip in the 99 car. This is a battle for 15th position. Riding with Michael here, see if he's shifting. There he is right there, went from 3rd to 4th gear, about halfway down the backstretch. Once again, just to maximize the RPMs on both straightaways. Greg Biffle goes to the inside of him, takes away that 15th position. Notice every driver, when they get on the straightaway, they always check that mirror. Even though they have that spotter up there, you can see those eyes in there just checking that mirror.
Jeff Hammond, what's going on down there?
Right now, a little bit of strategy between crew chief Brad Parrott and driver Greg Biffle on the 60 car. Brad Parrott has run all the way down here, just about to start-finish line of the instant of the garage area. He's got his crew assembled just inside in the garage area itself, so that when they come in, they can go to work on that number 60 car to get that left rear hub repaired as quickly as possible and save as many valuable points as they can.
And Jeff, I get the feeling right now that everything's okay, but where they're going to have a problem is when they go to take the lug nuts off again to try to change the tire. Because it seems just fine right now as he just gets another position away from Mike Bliss up to 14.
Larry, are you surprised at how aggressively these guys are racing early on?
I mean, not really. Again, we have this softer construction, softer compound tire, has a lot of grip. I think the racetrack has a lot of grip now as it continues to cool down, and I'm not a bit surprised that they're racing this hard this early.
Jason Leffler in the 00, he rides 6th, followed by Kyle Busch in 7th. Ron Hornaday Jr. is your leader.
Jason Leffler in the 00 car right there, just like we've seen everybody else, going from 3rd to 4th gear up that back straightaway.
And Larry, just a quick follow-up. Cars in the garage, off the racetrack. Travis Geisler, Mike Wallace, Stanton Barrett, and the 66 of Billy Parker.
Here we see Brad Parrott. I saw Tony Liberati down there as well, this whole group. I mean, the whole goal here is to have as good a game plan as you can have, where you lose as many laps as you possibly can, as few as you can, whether it's under caution or under green. You have to have a good game plan. Everyone needs to know the move they need to make. As Greg Biffle continues to march forward, as he goes by Kenny Wallace in the 23, that's a battle for 12.
Greg Biffle came into this race at Gateway 10th in points, 263 behind the leader, Michael Waltrip. We ride on board with Kenny Wallace. Started 13th up to 12th.
With the win last week, he finally got into the top 10 in points. It had been taking him a while to get there, but he finally was there. And if he has to lose a bunch of laps on the green fixing that hub, it's probably going to take him out of the top 10. Watch Ron Hornaday Jr. in that 2 car. Pretty much Martin Truex got the jump on him a while ago on that last restart. Let's see what happens here as we go back racing with 98 laps to go. There you see Hornaday pushing him down the front stretch. I think after that happened a couple times to Martin Truex on restarts, I think he's figured out the number here for Hornaday. Now Hornaday goes to the high side, see if he can get the run off turn 2. Martin Truex Jr. shuts the door on him. Look at Hornaday. I mean, he's driving that thing like there's 5 laps to go.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. up into the 3rd position. You're on board with Truex, looking back at Hornaday. There you see Hamilton Jr. to the right of your screen, the 3rd place car. Jason Keller 4th, Jason Leffler's 5th. Kyle Busch is 5th. Tim Feeder with a great run in 7th. Robbie Gordon up into the 8th position. Casey Kane 9th. Casey Atwood is 10th.
I know Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 car. I know we've only made 1 pit stop, which they've had a chance to adjust on the car, but it just looks like that as we go into this racetrack is coming to Harold Holly in that group. Ride with Davey Strimmy in the 32 car, sitting back in the 11th position, battling Casey Atwood in the Navy car in front of him for 10th.
And right behind David Strimmy, good run for Ashton Lewis Jr., the pole sitter for this event last year. Lewis in that white car, the 46, right behind Strimmy. J.J. Yaley has entered that fray. He's in the 14th position. Let's go to Jeff Hammond, who has more on Yaley.
J.J. Yaley started way back in 36th position earlier tonight and been battling his way up through the field. The car's been tight like everybody else, but he keeps working on it, and he keeps finding the groove. He says, guys, I'm starting to get a feel for this place. It's getting better. Good input as far as the driver's concerned, and a lot of good adjustments by this team.
Well, Larry Mack, look who's right behind him, Clint Boyer. We documented the damage he had on lap 3. Look at him. He puts the nose under the 18.
He's up there battling for the 14th position. But just to follow up on J.J. Yaley, every Busch Series start he's made this year, all the way back to Las Vegas, running a limited schedule, we have seen that. It's like in the beginning of the race, he falls back, he tries to find the racetrack, see what the competition's doing, and by the middle of the race, he is coming on. Now, he's never raced a Busch Series car here, but he did run in the USAC Silver Crown Series here.
Good battle there between Casey Kane there in the white paint scheme, a new paint scheme for him this evening. On board with David Strimmy. Battle for 9th. And right now, Strimmy has the advantage, but look at Kane close on him in the corners.
Casey really gets in the corner good. There you see him beating on the back of David Strimmy rear bumper, but it's like David Strimmy maybe gets off the corner a little better in the 32 car. But Jeff Hammond, how about Casey Kane?
Larry, right now, he's been struggling kind of all night long, getting off the corner. He called in the garage in the pit area a little while ago talking to his crew chief. He said, man, I can't get past anybody because I can't get off the corner. And the crew chief calls back and says, are you shifting? He says, no. So he tells him, you got to start shifting the car down to 3rd to get to run off the corner. You've been talking about it all night long, how critical being able to shift is here in Game 1.
Well, yeah, if he downshift in 1 and 2, we talked about it earlier, that's 30 points lower in 3rd gear. I mean, you'll definitely get him off the corner, get beat off the corner if you spot him 30 points a gear.
And Jeff Hammond mentioned his crew chief, Paul Andrews, atop the pit box now with a wealth of experience.
And I talked to Paul today, and he said, you know, I came in the middle of a terrible race stretch right here. I mean, these guys are running a lot of races in a row, but he said, I'm just now getting to spend some time in the shop to figure out what cars they've got, who does what on the race team, but you can tell he's getting very comfortable with this race team. And Casey Kane, if you get back around Davey Strimmy, this is a battle for the 9th position.
$109 laps in the book. 91 to go. On board with David Strimmy. There's Greg Biffle.
Greg Biffle's big adventure.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have chronicled his
Yeah,
night.
he got the free pass on lap 90. On the restart, he was 25th. And here on lap 109, he's up there battling Casey Atwood for the 11th position. He will be a factor before this night's out,
well,
I guarantee you.
You said that. If he gets back on that lead lap, look out, boys.
And he is there, and he is like a man on a mission right now.
Great run for Casey Atwood. His best finish this year, 9th at Darlington, his only top 10 finish.
It's like Casey finally figured out Greg Biffle was much quicker than he was. There's no sense that just fighting the issue. Right now, they're about 7.5 seconds behind our leader, Martin Truex Jr., which is about a fourth of a lap.
Let's check in with a busy Jeff Hammond.
Well, guys, it is kind of busy down here in the pits, and Steve Burns, as you well know, real men working the pits.
Attaboy.
And the thing right now, we talk about Greg Biffle. Interestingly enough, I talked to some of the crew members that are running back and forth to the truck trying to get this car repaired. One of them stopped and told me, we've got to win the race tonight. We've got to rally back, because if we don't, come Tuesday when Jack Roush comes down to have their team meeting, we try to find out why that wheel was loose. It's going to be a real ugly Tuesday for these guys in the 60 car if they're not able to get back up there and win this race.
But you know what, Jeff? For this team to already be back fighting to get in the top 10, I mean, that says a lot for that organization led by Brad Parrott. It's a lot like Clint Boyer. They've never given up tonight.
There's David Green. He's been trying to get around Ashton Lewis Jr. for the 13th spot.
And as we saw earlier in the race, he has about 30 laps fresher tires than these guys. But what he has to be careful, and trust me, David Green is a master at this, is not using all his stuff up, especially those 4 fresh tires. He has a good race car with these 4 fresh tires.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 3rd position. There you see his Marines car, and Dick Berggren has more on him.
And everybody better be careful of Bobby Hamilton, because he came on the radio about 10 or 12 laps ago and bragged about how good his race car was. In reply, his crew chief said, "Okay, buddy, look for him now. You're a fighter. Hunt them down." That was Harold Holly.
And Larry Mack, Bobby Hamilton Jr. talked about before this race that it's a one-day show where we practice, qualified, and race. And he said his crew chief, Harold Holly, with his experience, would be a huge bonus and a benefit for him.
Simply from his experience at these racetracks. I think as we do these one-day shows, that's where the experienced drivers and crew chiefs will certainly take over. And I talked to Harold Holly today, and he's almost been with Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 car for almost 1 year. And even though they've hit some bumps on the road this year, you can definitely see them starting to come on again, just as they did the end of last year.
They were the hottest team in the sport at the end of last season and almost won the championship. They were 200 points back at the end of the year and still almost made it up.
We're getting very close to some green flag stops. As we documented in the pre-race, these guys can run about 75 laps. They pitted on 63, and I think the first to come to pit road is Ron Hornaday in that 2 car. Now we're 60 laps from the end, so all these pit stops, should we stay green, we'll let them go to the end. They can make it from here, but as we cycle through these green flag stops, these guys hold their breath, hoping they don't get burned by a caution flag, because then they would be 1 to 2 laps down. These should be pit stops that will include 4 tires, adjustments full of fuel, possibly the last stop for these guys. Dick Berggren.
For today in, he has had a good race car all night, has run in either 1st or 2nd spot all night. Most important here, no mistakes. A nice, smooth pit stop is what Hornaday needs. Doesn't have to be the fastest of the night, but no mistakes. Get all the lugs on, all 5 on every wheel, and they'll be okay. Good stop for Hornaday.
Yeah, it would be very hard to overcome a mistake on pit road, whether it's a loose lug nut, dragging equipment away, or speeding on pit road this late in the race. But for a man that almost got in trouble, the 8 car, remember, he had a 2.5 second lead. When we were doing the baseball promo, this is what was going on here. He comes up on the lap car of Hermie Sadler in the 02, and he gets in the back of Hermie and just about wrecked that car off turn 4 with nobody behind him.
Let's look on board, Larry.
Now, Hermie was fighting to stay on the lead lap. But it's a good thing Hermie didn't yank that car back, because he could have gotten the side of Martin Truex, and both of them had a problem. Bobby Hamilton Jr., now the 25 car, who had moved into 2nd place, he's on pit road for his green flag stop. Now this set of tires these guys are putting on here, as we see Martin Truex in the left box, our leader, he comes to pit road. This set of tires will not count against their allotment because it's under green.
4-tire stop for Hamilton Jr. and his Harold Holly-led crew. It looks like they're having a little bit of a problem. You see some frustration there by the front tire changer as Martin Truex Jr. comes down pit road.
See Jason Keller, Jason Leffler, Ashton Lewis, Dick Berger.
Truex has had a big night so far in what they call car number 1. This is the first car built by the Chance 2 group. Earnhardt Jr. has one in it. Mark finished 4th last year in base, and this crew is inspired. This is a good pit stop that's going on right now for Truex. A little bit slow in the left rear. Fuel still going in. Nice stop.
Now this will give right now Greg Biffle, the 60 car, he has taken the lead.
Jason Keller has also hit pit road. Jeff Hammond.
Well, the 5-car Kyle Busch comes in. The guys are going to make a track bar adjustment. Hopefully for Lance McGrew, this crew of his, this last adjustment is actually going to be, they went 1 round down on the right rear, taking a little bite out of the car. The car has still been extremely tight on the exit. Kyle says, if you keep me freed up, I can get up there and get in. And he's down and away.
Michael Waltrip in the 99 car comes to pit road. Regan Smith in the 56 car. All these are routine green flag stops.
Robbie Gordon also on pit road in the 55. Tim Fedewa. Greg Biffle has inherited the lead.
And he was last on pit road at lap 72 as we see Michael Waltrip's pit stop. So he should be on pit road here very shortly. Is Martin Truex Jr. That's the difference right there. Yep. You're showing in about 75 lap tires how he just blew by Greg Biffle in the 60. So anybody right now that's still on the lead lap, they can't be far behind these guys and give up a bunch of time on these older tires. David Scrimmy, the 32 car on pit road, as well as Hermie Sadler in 02. Saw a while ago he just had to win a lap down.
You know, Larry Mack, most of the races I work, I'm on pit road. You can pretty much tell by the crew guys' reaction if they've had a good stop or a bad one.
And you can feel it. Nobody has to tell you what the time is. Whether you're a tire changer or a jack man, you can tell it. As we see Greg Biffle in the 60 car, they finally decide to come to pit road and get those 4 tires. He saw how fast Martin Truex blew by him. I'm sure the first thing he said, how much further are you going to run me? I need to get in there and get those 4 tires.
Green flag stop for Greg Biffle. Lap 147, 148 make that.
Now this will hand the lead to David Green in the 37 car. Remember, he was one of the cars on pit road at lap 99. He can run about 30 more laps. Problem, he can't give up much more time on those older tires. Dick Berger.
If there wasn't already enough drama with Greg Biffle's crew, the big discussion was not whether they were going to take 4 tires or 2. 4 tires or 3. They're still worried about this left rear. Late they decided, slow on the right-hand side. Late they decided that they were going to change all 4. And as I look in here, there's a little bit of fire in the left rear, and they cannot get the left rear off. Cannot get it off. Finally, off comes the left rear. Alan Tully, the rear tire changer, a tough time here. Slow on pit road on the green flag. Wow, what a night he's had.
Yeah, 31.7. Dick, that's almost 3 times the amount of pit stops should be. I mean, that can be half of a racetrack right there.
And that rear tire changer, I mean, how'd you like to pull that wheel and tire off with fire right there facing you?
Yeah, and I mean, we know the problem with those lug studs. It's like going to a gunfight with a knife. You don't know what to expect when you get in there. And there's our leader right now, David Green, in the 37 cars we mentioned a while ago. We know on fuel, he could probably run about another 25 laps, but he's given up a lot of time on those tires. But if we get a caution, Jason Ratcliffe got crew, the strategy has paid off.
Recycling through pit stops, David Green, your leader. Clint Boyer in the 21 car who was involved in that lap 3 incident is 2nd. Mike Bliss 3rd. Johnny Sauter 4th. J.J. Yaley is 5th. Oh, and imagine that. Look who's nose to tail.
Well, just remember, before the green flag pit stops, Ron Hornaday was about 2.5 seconds behind. I think 2 things happened. I think Ron was the first lead lap car to come to pit road. He got advantage of those tires, but I think Ron's experience pitting under green, getting full advantage of getting on pit road and off paid off with Martin Truex Jr. He's going to take the lead back here as we've got 49 laps to go.
closing laps of a Saturday night shootout here at Gateway, just outside of St. Louis. There's your leader, Martin Truex Jr. His lead, a little over 5 seconds on Ron Hornaday.
Greg Biffle in the 60 car, back in 8th position right now. Not too far behind him is Robbie Gordon in the 55 car. He's in 10th position as the last of the leaders come to pit road for their green flag stop. Stacy Compton to 59. This was going off into turn 1 about 5 laps ago. Looked like Robbie Gordon. I don't know if Greg Biffle actually got into it. Looked like Robbie Gordon just got loose getting in the corner. Greg may have gotten to him after he got loose, but these guys were battling for position. But when I look at those two cars, Greg Biffle, just a little over 100 laps ago, or not quite 100 laps ago, was 2 laps down. Now he's running in 8th. Robbie Gordon came in here 5th in points, had to start at the rear of the field. In fact, missed most of the first practice because of the engine change. And for him to be running here in the top 10, I'm sure that's a pretty good day for those guys. And I think about Robbie Gordon, what they've accomplished. This is a brand new Busch team. I mean, they're still just trying to get cars built to make it through the season. And these guys continue to show championship caliber every week.
Laps to go for Martin Truex Jr., trying to win for the 3rd time in his 2004 season. Earlier wins coming in Bristol and then again at Talladega.
Right now, he is about 4.5 seconds ahead of Ron Hornaday, but I have to believe Kevin Bono Mannion, that group, they have tried to slow him down just a little bit. There's no sense in pushing the envelope here. We'll keep you posted where Ron Hornaday is. Don't get yourself in trouble with lap traffic as you almost did several laps ago with Hermie Sadler. Goes underneath Casey Atwood in the 14 car. Casey's back in 22nd position right now. It's Kevin Bono Mannion.
He's got his shades on.
His future's so bright, he has to wear shades.
I'm so proud of you for picking up on that.
How about that? We've been together too long.
That's exactly right.
I tell you, that group has really pulled together. I just don't know if we can document that enough. It's almost like no matter who they put in these race cars, whether it's Dale Earnhardt Jr., as we see a big, huge battle here for 4th position. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 car goes underneath Kyle Busch in the 5. We had watched just a few laps ago where Bobby Hamilton Jr. was reeling him in, and now here with about 11 laps to go, he goes by him. But I was going back to the 8 car, no matter who drives that race car, whether it was Tony Stewart at Michigan last year, Dale Earnhardt Jr., now Martin Truex Jr., these guys are always at the front bidding for the win.
On board with Martin Truex Jr., 10 laps away from the checkered flag. His lead nearly 6 seconds over Ron Hornaday Jr. 24 years old.
I saw his dad down in the garage area today. His dad's almost, there's not a race that we've been to that I've not seen Martin Truex Sr. at.
Jason Keller trying to nail down his best finish of the season. He's in the 3rd position. Jeff Hammond.
Right now, I'm taking a look as far as Jason Keller's concerned. And Wes Ward, I mean, he's trying to encourage his driver to get on up through there because they've got a really fast race car. And he said, man, I need about 20 more laps. I can win this thing. But right now, you see they're complaining to the NASCAR officials, telling them that lap traffic's really giving them a hard time. They need to get up there and get a little closer. They got a really good race car. If they finish 3rd, it'll be the best finish of the year. Up to the end, it's only been 8. So they really got a good car tonight.
Yeah, Jeff, should nothing happen, I mean, he's about a 1.5 seconds behind Ron Hornaday, who's in 2nd, and he has about a 3-second lead on the 4th place car, Bobby Hamilton Jr. You know, we were talking about Martin Truex Sr. I just about bet he's down there hanging out in the pits right now, probably standing up on the wall. There you see him right there. A great racer himself. Looks pretty calm right now. He looks calmer than he did at Bristol a few months ago. Martin was going for that first win. So he'll come by the stripe this time. 7 laps to go.
Piece of sheet metal hanging off the right side of that car and all. It doesn't seem to matter. Jeff Hammond, is there trouble on the 37?
inside of the, Jason Ratcliffe just buried his head inside his hands because the 37 car just lost a cylinder, guys. We've had a lot of engines go south tonight. Now the 37 car looks like he's going to be part of that group right now with only about 7.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's in 10th, Jeff, and yeah, he's fixing to be overtaken by our leader.
Six laps to go for Martin Truex Jr.
Now, when Martin Truex Jr. comes by the start-finish line the next time, that will be 5 to go, and we will be past the red flag window. The window that NASCAR gave the teams at the drivers' meeting was 5 laps. If we have a caution after 5 laps, we'll certainly work to get the race restarted, but no red flag. And now there is 5 laps to go for our leader, Martin Truex Jr., who is about 64 seconds ahead of Ron Hornaday in the 2 car. There you see he pulls up to the back of David Green. David right now is in the 11th position. If he can nurse that thing home with that cylinder that's down, that would still be a pretty good finish for him, considering he's only on 7 cylinders.
Yeah, absolutely. He's 4th in points. He needs a good night tonight. You know, Larry Mackey said earlier in the race, this event had never been won from the pole position. Martin Truex Jr. could change that here shortly.
I would say he's going to change a lot of things. Hey, we got quite a battle going on for the 5th position. Kyle Busch in the 5 car, 00. Jason Leffler was starting to reel him in just a few laps ago, but now the last couple laps, Kyle Busch is starting to pull away just a little bit. Right now there's about a 2nd differential in it. But this would be a good run for Jason Leffler in that 00 car. Buddy Barker.
You know, Larry, racing, I believe, is no different than other sports. It's all about momentum. It's hard to get, hard to keep.
It really is. It's hard to get. It's very hard to keep, trust me. Martin Truex Jr. about 2.5 laps to go. Next time, Bobby, 2 laps to go. And he has a pretty clean racetrack in front of him now. Don't have a lot of lap traffic out there to deal with.
Lead of almost 6 seconds over Ron Hornaday. Look how calm his hands are on that steering wheel, Larry.
Seems very relaxed and at home in there. There you see, grabs 3rd gear, just as we've seen drivers doing all night long. About halfway up the backstretch here, lap and a half to go. You'll see him reach over there and slide it into 4th gear. Just kind of taking care of everything. Next time will be white flag. 1 lap to go for Martin Truex Jr. in that 8 car. Goes by Robbie Gordon in the 55 car. Now Robbie is in the 10th position, so he's still in the top 10.
White flag. Here we go. 4 more corners for Martin Truex Jr. Trying to become the 6th different driver to win a Busch Series race here in Gateway.
Pretty much with a half a lap to go. Nobody in front of him, nobody behind him. You just don't need to get in trouble in here in 3 and 4. He's just through the middle of 3 and 4. He'll pick the throttle up. You see him hit this front straightaway. He can pretty much coast home from there. And of all these people here, nobody is sitting down.
Everybody on their feet cheering Martin Truex Jr.'s 3rd win of the 2004 season.
Ron Hornaday looks like he will come home in 2nd. Jason Keller in 3rd. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in 4th. Kyle Busch in 5th. Jason Leffler in 6th.
Look at that fan, Larry. He had the H shaped in the back of his head. That's a fan.
Yes, it is. There he is.
Oh, come on out here, Martin. The winner here tonight, Gateway. Later of 122 laps. Woo! Things are going to get kind of chilled down with a little bit of Busch beer. You talking about some excitement right now. Woo! All right. Come on down here, big guy. Driving the same car that your owner, Dale Earnhardt Jr., won with at Richmond back in 2002. Pretty awesome performance, buddy.
When good old Saturday night short track, man, I'll tell you what a hot ride. That was fun racing, beating and banging a little bit, and man, we killed them, didn't we? That was awesome. Taco Bell, last race with us for the year, and we got them 2 wins. Maybe they'll come back now.
3 wins, and on top of that, you took the point lead tonight.
Wow, that's awesome. hopefully we keep the rest of the year. We left 30 points in California, and we said we were going to get them this week, and we sure as hell did that.
Looks like it's a long ways for the end, but this young man right here is definitely showing the way.